Jennifer, you can roll whenever you like.
And we're going to come up on you?
Yeah, come up on this camera.
Tape rolling.
I'll count myself in.
Crazy right wing as the first one. You know, so I mean, this is a serious war because I mean, Wellstone is another example.
Yeah.
I mean,
so this is, folks,
the same money.
What this man is speaking of is pure indication of media collusion and high-level conspiracy. When they can take a candidate who's very popular, Cynthia McKinney, very, very popular, and she had the position in Congress where, when there were hearings, I don't know if everybody remembers the hearings where Donald Rumsfeld and Richard Myers had to appear before a panel, and so she had a position where she took part in that panel, and that's when she confronted Donald Rumsfeld, asking him about the what was it, 1.8 to 2.2 trillion dollars missing from the Pentagon budget, which was reported on September 10th, 2001. And in this hearing, you can see in the video, Donald Rumsfeld starts doing this. He starts fidgeting and then he turns to Richard Myers, and then he wants to come back. So, I have to get back to you on this. And furthermore, what she asked him about was this company DynCorp that was known to have engaged overseas in one of these third world countries in sex trade. For its I would say mercenaries or hired contractors. Very, very illegal activity, immoral activity from DynCorp. And so she confronted him on it. So she was a popular, courageous woman, and look what they were able to do to her. And look what they were able to do to John Wellstone. Look what they were able to
Paul Wellstone.
I'm sorry, Paul Wellstone. They did to another two senators who spoke out on 9/11, which is Mark Dayton. Congressman.
Right.
Mark Dayton held a hearing in which he basically said NORAD lied to the 9/11 Commission about the timeline of the 4 flights. He did it very eloquently, and he's gone. Okay, I think he and his staff received some threatening phone calls, letters, or information, and what I heard, I think from reliable sources, is that after this set of warnings, they left their offices. Okay, it was pretty intense. And then another senator who's gone, or congressman, I'm sorry, is Kurt Weldon, Republican from Pennsylvania, who was the champion of 2 whistleblowers from Able Danger, Anthony Schaefer and Scott Philpott. And he was able to pull together 242 congressmen to sign a petition to have openly held hearings about this Able Danger program. So, and he's been in for several terms, and all of a sudden, this last campaign season, they dig out some scandal. They created a scandal about some real estate deals, and also his daughter having some business contracts. They basically smeared him because of speaking on 9/11. So there's 4 right there, and I just look at that and say, here's the reality behind it. Now, okay, wait a minute. We got to talk about February 11th. Okay, let's spend some time on that. February 11th, it's on a Sunday. It's going to be 5 years, 6 months. 5 years, 5 months. You sure? Okay. So that afternoon, it's going to be beautiful weather, and we got to. Okay. So street action, about like 3 o'clock, Union Square. All right, and let's just say 3 o'clock street action. What we should do is get at least 2 locations happening for that Sunday. All right, in that evening, we could do several things, including showing film. Folks, how about this? We have a special program where if anybody brings somebody new for that night, you get 3 stickers, or, bumper stickers or buttons free. Okay? And little incentive there. They're kind of cool. People love these stickers and bumper stickers. We have a lot of good ones. And so a little incentive to bring somebody new for that night. And anybody else would like to see anything special, any special speakers?
We've been talking less about, just a little heads up for you guys, about doing something on the 11th of each month now, especially coming towards the 6th anniversary. And trying to get that out to the rest of the country. That's why the guy from Above Top Secret, Bill, we were talking about that at the meeting 2 weeks ago. So hopefully we can arrange that. But you guys talk to anybody else, any other activists, any other part of the country. Try to pump up this thing that every 11th we want to do something in every city in the country. If it's just a matter of making a poster about 9/11 was an inside job, going outside City Hall, But we're going to try to pump this up for this, the February 11th, and for each single 11th after that.
Right.
What time February 11th?
3 o'clock. Where? Right across from, what is it, Whole Foods? Union Square. Okay. We're all set. And it's very important, folks. What do we want? What do we want after 5 years, 5 months?
Independent investigation.
Independent investigation, right. Now, by the way, I want to tell you, at this media reform conference, that was an easy sell, an independent investigation. People were saying, of course, there are questions that must be asked. Even a few people that I spoke to who were resistant to admitting or even considering that 9/11 was a state-sponsored false flag terror event. There was a few people like that. And basically they haven't considered, have not spent the time after 5 years. Many people within the media, even within the alternative media and within the progressive movement, have not spent the time to look at the evidence. So how about this? For February 11th, we're going to do a call out for the alternative media to take the time to view the evidence. To say, too much time has passed. If you have not viewed this evidence that we have proving complicity, orchestration, 9/11 is in a string of events. If you have not taken the time yet, here's what you need to do. We'll give them, 3 DVDs to watch: 9/11 Press for Truth, 9/11 Mysteries, Terror Storm. Okay? Another thing I'd like to see us do is come together on an effort to give information to the NYPD. Okay? Tom's been working on that. And give NYPD information on 9/11. We have a cop who was a first responder. His name's Craig Bartmer, and we have an interview with him. And it's great. He is one of them, one of the men in blue who, after 9/11, responded and had a horrendous experience, health-wise and mentally. And he's one of these first responders who has really become sick and really victimized by the failure of the city agencies, federal agencies, to take care of our people whose role and responsibility is to come to our rescue. So he's one of them, and he's NYPD, and he's very intelligent and knowledgeable about what 9/11 was really about. So we have him on DVD, and his name is Craig Bartmer. And so what we're working to do is give DVDs of his interview to NYPD. So we'll have a batch, and I think that's a good initiative.
Dan said he was making a couple. One with Craig Barker and his 9/11 Mysteries after that, and one Craig Barker and Press the Truth after that. So we should give them to every cop in Manhattan,
Right.
or Brooklyn or whatever, because you guys, nobody wants to talk to the cops. Try it. Just try to talk to a couple of cops once in a while. Tell them a little bit about what you think about 9/11. He's surprised. Talk to 10 cops, 3 of them will agree with you.
Yeah.
How about Willie Rodriguez?
Yeah. Willie Rodriguez DVD, sure. We should show that one soon as well. And it's good to just carry material with you. You never know when you're going to run into something. I was, picking up takeout Chinese food, and the cop comes in, and I say, hey, I really got something I want you to see. And he's like, oh, cool, thank you very much.
You can sympathize with them and also
Yeah.
notice that they only make $25 a year. They're just average human beings like
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
Doing a job.
When we have an opportunity to speak to a policeman and say, look, you lost a lot of your brothers on 9/11.
Yeah.
You lost a lot of your brothers, and that immediately connects with them. And this is why I want you to look at this material, because there's so much that has not been reported. There's so much that has been covered up. We need to get the truth. And they relate. They'll relate. Michelle?
I just want to say that the reason we want to reach the police is that if we don't succeed in impeaching this criminal, we're going to have a police state, a fascist state, and we want the police to be on our side. We want the police to be able to turn against the government and be on our side. That's why we need to be aggressive about informing them, right, the strategy.
Good point.
I'm saying that it should be indictment, not impeachment. Impeachment is for the president, and if he got it in by vote fraud, everything he's done is criminal, and we can indict him for everything he's done. The Patriot Act, which takes rights away, the corporate funding of outsourcing of jobs. These are things a criminal would do. These things destroy America, destroy the Constitution, destroy the economy. It's thrown the United States into. It's thrown the United States into. It's thrown the United States into like 700 to 1,000 years of debts. And how America's going to pay that off, I really don't know. It's just ridiculous. He's robbing America, and his corporate backers of the military-industrialist complex are robbing and conquering America through these activities.
So he can pay for his 100,000 acres in Paraguay. Does everyone know that the Bush family bought 100,000 acres in Paraguay near all the natural gas and water resources?
Let's send them there right away.
Yes, recently?
This happened in October. There's an article you can find online. UK Guardian wrote an article on it. There's a number of bloggers that have written about it.
Yeah.
As far as indictment, if you remember, Spiro Agnew was vice president, and he was indicted, and impeached. So we could go after Cheney, and the indictments for the criminal acts that he performed will lead to his impeachment. So we need to do that first, just like Spiro Agnew went first, and then Nixon had to resign.
It should be indictment. I don't recognize him as president. I saw the vote being fraudulent myself.
According to a panel, a big event at the town hall last year, and this was all about articles of impeachment. I'll tell you who was on the panel. John Dean, right, Watergate. Liz Holzman, she was a Watergate prosecutor. Let's see. Also Sam Cedar of Aeronautical Radio. John Conyers. And, the attorney Michael Ratner, right? Center for Constitutional Rights. So this whole discussion happened, raising issues such as torture, this is grounds for impeachment, the warrantless wiretaps, these are grounds for impeachment, and the Iraq War, or the lies of Iraq, these are what they were discussing. And what came up in the conversation, I'm just sharing because we're talking about procedural issues of indictment versus impeachment. And what they specified as first, before you can indict a sitting president, he's got to be impeached. So,
that be impeached first?
yeah, that's what they said. That's what they said. So, now, my question is, what if they commit treason?
They already have.
Yes, they already have. So if but you know, this is the weird thing about our government is that there's this office of presidency. There's an office of the presidency that.
You're representing the government. You're representing Steve Jones. You're representing Urantia. You're representing a lot of records. Now you're allowing LaRouche. I'm not talking about I don't care about LaRouche. LaRouche is actually right now represented here. Urantia, OSS, CIA, that's same as representing a lot of other government representing what? Represented by you.
Representing what?
Yeah, you covering up exotic weaponry, which
Well,
is
I've heard of
by
the
Steve
FBI
Jones,
speaking before.
State Greg Griffin, Rockefeller Associates, One World Government, you're supporting them. You're covering up 9 TV fakery, and you're covering up exotic weaponry, and you're covering up an ongoing war between China, Russia, and US on killer satellite Star Wars. This happened this week in China on behalf of technology of James Baker. You're sitting here, and you support him for World War IV, 5.
Who do you work for?
I work for myself. You're wacko because you're a LaRouchian.
No, you're FBI.
Oh, FBI, I shine and prove it, you fucking moron.
That's nice language.
Can we take turns?
It's the only language you understand, fuck
How
ass.
about a little order? You have a response?
Okay.
You have no response? Let's see what happened in Memphis, huh? What will happen in...
I guess not.
Response for Jones?
You got your point.
Yeah, you have your chance to talk.
Where's the answer?
You have your chance to
Why are you
talk.
covering up exotic weaponry, the evidence of exotic weaponry in the use of 9/11? Why are you covering up... Yes, it exists.
I'll tell you what. If you think we can put that through to the general public and to Congress, City Council...
Well, just by the New York Post.
Let him finish. Let him finish. What were you going to say?
If you, Nico, or anybody else thinks that exotic weaponry is the lead-in to convince the public and to get action done for justice for 9/11, go with Nico.
There is no
Go
doubt.
out there.
Don't vote with me.
Just go out
No
there.
one should become a leader.
Just go. Out there and convince the public.
It's on Wikipedia. Direct energy weapons, you're not thrown. I don't need to convince the people. It's already up on the internet.
Well, like Vince doing.
China tested right now. Star Wars weaponry.
We don't understand your words.
New York Post. Yeah, you understand someone who's talking bullshit. I know. You understand someone who's talking bullshit. He says...
We don't understand you.
He isn't talking bullshit. He says Urantia. It's a front for the OSS and CIA NSA since the 50s. And he will not step back because he's bullshitting you.
And who are you?
I'm Nico Haupt. I'm not a leader. I don't want to become a leader for a shithouse. It's you who said.
We need to work together. Let's
No, I don't want to work together with this guy here who's standing here.
Then why are you here?
We need to work together.
Freedom of speech, black lady. Freedom of speech.
You had your speech and your freedom too.
We all have good
If you go with him, you will run into World War IV, 5. That's what he's
We need to
doing.
work together. You all have
In Arizona, V for Vendetta.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
Go back to Google.
Now go you back to Google. Here, that's the picture. Google with Kyle Hanks.
Take it easy. Let's
Nico.
good points together. We all have good points.
Hey, Nico. How much information do you have on exotic weaponry? Wikipedia.org. Jonas Thun is a technology developer, HSV, Raytheon. China has exotic weaponry. Russia might have also, it's not just confirmed yet. US has definitely exotic weaponry.
Nico, what's your point? Are you saying that exotic weaponry was used to bring down the towers?
Yes, it's pretty clear.
Okay, I mean, is that substantiated, or is that just somebody's idea?
Substantiated by the evidence that you cannot pulverize a building with thermite, because Jones is pushing a hangout because he developed exotic weaponry. He was on cold fusion, he was on zonoluminescence, and he probably has other test evidence. He betrayed the United States in 1989 by stopping a cold fusion free energy project. He worked for the Los Alamos department. He worked for the Department of Energy, and he knows it, and he's with a cult who's infiltrated with CIA, OSS, NSA since the 50s.
Nico.
And it's not religious freedom of speech, because you're representing a front which also infiltrated I'm Truth.org. And you can look up my facts, because it's a fact. I'm not making this up, I'm not working for any fucking government.
Now, will you let him respond and be quiet for a while?
Nico, look, you did a presentation here on the no planes thing, okay?
Well, that's here.
And we had a good crowd, and the people were respectful of you. Okay?
Fine, wait until 2006, and at the end of the year, and you will have World War with China and Russia. You wait until 2008, you have Hillary Clinton fascism.
Nico, here's my point. You got through that whole presentation, being a gentleman, Les Jameson is still here. That's the only troublemaker right now. He's representing the fucking government front.
Nick, let me finish. If you get 15 minutes or 20 minutes on a Sunday night here to actually put something together about exotic weaponry and have that...
about Les Jameson and Urantia and Tavistock. I want to have 15 minutes against Les Jameson. Yeah, and Brian Belitzos, who you still meet every week. At least on the phone.
It's an alternative view. This is insanity.
No, it's fact. Tell him that you still make websites for Urantia. Tell him that you support the official story. You said Bin Laden was behind 9/11 in front of Urantia.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Nico, most of the people here don't know what Urantia is.
Proof that we put up the website this week. Your signatures in it, Bin Laden behind 9/11, Urantia, Les James from 2004. We had the website up. Tom said, tell him that the website was circulating with his signature.
Wait a second, you guys, look. Les and I have been disagreeing about a lot of stuff about the movement. Fine, okay? I'm never going to accuse Les of espionage or anything like that, you know. Okay? But,
Tell him that you work with Urantia. Tell him that you supported Urantia till at least 2004.
You mean supported Urantia?
You were at the Urantia meeting. Tell him. Tell him that you lied to this list.
Wait. Let me moderate here a little bit. For you guys that don't know what Urantia is, all right? Urantia is a religion. It took hold in the 50s. It's Les's religion. Took hold in the 50s. And I don't know too much about it unless you say it's for world peace. Okay. All right. There's a little bit of questions about a lot of different religions. Okay. There was questions raised about there's an NSA member who was a trustee of Urantia. Now, does that invite the whole religion? I don't know. I don't think so. You can't just say because there was an NSA member on the board of Urantia, the trustee of Urantia, that Urantia is no good or that Les is no good. All right? But I think these questions have come about because of that. You know, we have been having a dialogue in the past few weeks, trying to discuss this, trying to communicate, trying to get to the bottom of it. Now, Nico, I'm saying this. If you have evidence, substantiated evidence, I'm sorry, I'll get that. Okay. If you have evidence that links Les to some kind of subversive group that's undermining our organization here, I'm sure we'd all welcome it. Hey, look, okay, but if it's name calling, we don't like that.
I'm not name calling.
If you have evidence,
he's still meeting with Urantia people.
If you have evidence that he's still meeting with Urantia people when he denied it, then email us.
He's lying. He's meeting with Brian Belitzos, who is Urantia, which is not true, so co-founder.
Okay, this is what you call a witch hunt.
Right.
All right?
No, this is what you call Quaker Pro Revelation.
Wait a second, I'd like to say something.
From the Theosophical Society.
Not a religion. It was created by Tavistock and the Nazis.
And stuff like that. It's very thick.
See that? She said,
Oh, so you was Urantia. Here we have another evidence. There's another Urantia member right now representing
You lying fuckface.
Anyway, hold your answer aside.
Hi, I'd like to just say that we've observed the past 15 minutes where Nico has been very rude and interrupt this whole meeting, where everyone has had their time to speak. And he has been proven to be very vociferous and rude with his theories about there's no planes and that thing. So we'd appreciate, you've been asked not to speak, or at least keep your voice down because there's a play upstairs. So be respectful. Now, you have monopolized the last 15 minutes with accusations that are unfair to Les, who we all respect, because regardless if he goes, regardless if he goes to Urantia meeting, whatever meetings he goes to is his business. There's freedom of religion here.
It's not a religion. It's a CIA front from OSS.
It doesn't mean anything. It has no relevance to reality. The reality is...
I'm American Constitution. You know. You're puppet. Kick me out and censor me. But don't listen to this fucking puppet. No, this is the play. This is the real play here. Upstairs reality.
People here, listen,
Listen to this fascist Obellian, running the world of so fight China and Russia. Nico Haupt, something, wake up. Get the fuck along on me. I don't want to stay here. I have my own.
Then get out. Get out.
Hey, may I? You guys, may I? Look. Everybody who cares about 9/11, who cares about truth, cares about Les and me and Luke and people doing things here. You don't have to believe Nico or Les or anything. You guys do your own research, okay? If you think it's worthy enough to do research on it, right? Make your own conclusions. You can put your ranch and CIA in a search engine and see if anything comes up that you think is valid. If you do, bring it to our attention. If not, I see no reason to have a witch hunt.
and you do what he would never do, is get a book and read it and go meet and talk to people and give them an honest listen to and consideration.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, you have no clue what you're talking about. Excuse me. We have something
I have a very important presentation. I have a very, very important presentation.
This is about Homeland Security, folks.
I am being indicted by Homeland Security. No charges, no rights, nothing. They can come and kill me at any minute. I'm probably the first of this type. It'll probably be me this time, then 5 people, then 10 people, then thousands of people. On December 15th, I received a letter and a phone call saying I need to come in and answer some questions. And I was told it's being handled by the New York State Bureau of Professional Regulation, since I'm a professional and hold a license through the New York State Bureau of Professional Regulation. But it's through the CIA and Homeland Security. And so I went in to answer to see what this was about and what kind of questions they were asking me. And they said they had hearsay that I have guns in my car, that I'm homeless, I live in my car, that I have guns, and I have guns in my house where I live, which doesn't really add up there. They said I own a house in Pennsylvania where I have guns, and I supply guns to the Ku Klux Klan, and I supply sex to the Ku Klux Klan. And I said, well, listen, you can search me, you can search my car, you can search my house here in New York. I never owned or lived in Pennsylvania. You can search every house in Pennsylvania. They refused to search me. That right there on the spot, when I was surprised about these charges, I wouldn't have time to clear my house or car out. They refused to search me. These are just ridiculous false charges. I wasn't allowed any charges in writing. I wasn't allowed anything in writing or specific charges. And I said, where do these charges come from? I said, is this hearsay, or do you have a first-hand witness that saw me do this? And they said it was hearsay. And I said, well, if it's hearsay, you can't convict somebody on hearsay. And they said, oh, yes, we can. We're under Homeland Security now. The Bureau of Professional Regulation is under Homeland Security, and this is through Homeland Security. And they said, we are moving forward with your case. And I told them, I said, I demanded my rights. I said, I have a right to 15 elements of due process, specific charges in writing, written testimony of these charges, to face the witness, 15 elements of due process. And they said, we're under Homeland Security. You're not entitled to any of that. And so I said, well, I said, is it Tom Weiss who said this? And they said, yeah, that's it. I don't know who it is. They said,
really?
Yeah, that's it. Tom Weiss. I said, Tom Weiss was the one who
Many people
came
know
in.
who Tom Weiss is. He's a guy who used to come here and disrupt the hell out of this meeting.
Even worse
also,
than Nico.
Attack anybody and everybody for being LaRouche, connection. And now he's calling us neo-Nazis. And he's doing what this guy just did, you're a cultist and all that crap. And so he reported her to Homeland Security. It's a total malicious act. And
False charges.
for just to be, spiteful and vengeful, to make trouble. No other reason.
And I said, I have one of my many degrees is a degree in counseling. And I happen to know, and I said, I'm also a registered nurse. I have 14 years of college in health science. I said, I know, in my opinion, this guy has a diagnosis of schizophrenic manifested aggressiveness. I have films of him screaming and yelling at meetings at 9/11 Truth at an Iraqi war protest. He screams and yells like schizophrenically, psychotically. I said, this person is not a credible witness. There is obviously something mentally wrong with him. I said, there's been articles about him in the paper for stalking women. He stalks me, obviously. There's never been anything personal between him. I never had so much as one personal conversation with him. He just stalks me and screams and yells at me at 9/11 Truth meetings. And I said, there's been an article in the New York Times about him stalking powerful women like Betsy Gottlieb. And I said, this is not a credible witness. I said, you should dismiss this case. This hearsay from him is not any kind of a case. And they said, don't you talk bad about him. We're not prosecuting him. We're prosecuting you. And I said, I can show you these newspaper articles. I Xeroxed the copy of the newspaper article on him stalking Betsy Gottlieb, and are saying that she's crazy.
But Judith, you are a very vociferous activist against the government.
I received this letter December 15th, just after I had written this paper on the corporate responsibility and corporate control of the world and the heroes who stand up to the privatization of currency, Federal Reserve, and national and world banks. And I demand unprivatization, nationalization of the Federal Reserve and the currency, and forfeiture, and also forfeiture of those who have received money, profited from defense contracts, and profited from interest on the U.S. currency.
So, obviously they're using Tom as an excuse to, just because they don't like what you're promoting.
Exactly. So they're using Tom as an excuse. I postulate here that they tried to find somebody to say something against me. From when I was in the Army, I know they said subversive infiltration is the main weapon. It's better than battlegrounds or guns, weapons, jails, and courts. All they have to do is pay somebody $10,000 within a group to disrupt their group, and the group is harmless against the U.S. And I postulate they looked for somebody, they found Tom Weiss to say something against me, and they're using this. And I know that something like that has to be true, because now in the second phone call they made to me saying they're proceeding with the case, but last week they changed their story saying I don't own a house in State College, Pennsylvania. And they changed it to another town. And I said, well, did this Tom Weiss write you a second letter and change it? And they said, no, he didn't write a second letter. I said, then how did you change it from the house saying I own a house in Pennsylvania? And they got the address of a house I owned in Carbondale, Illinois. And I said, how did you get that address? And how did you change this? What year? Who gave this? Must be a second person or a second round of hearsay. Where did you get this hearsay? And they said, and they refused to answer that. So they're updating their charges and twisting them around to something that sounds a little better. And
can I ask you a question?
And sure. And so they made it clear this is under Homeland Security. I'm not entitled to any rights. And I also noticed that in the emails and the independent media, they show that Congress has passed a law in the last week saying that they can send someone to the death penalty on hearsay. And so this might possibly be made for me, because I also called, when I wrote this paper, I also called Bill Frist's office. He's Republican Senate Majority Leader, and I told him this. I said, I demand that the Federal Reserve be nationalized, unprivatized, and that there be forfeiture of everyone who has profited from it, from defense contracts, from privatization, interest on the currency, and anyone who received money from these people who profited. We demand forfeiture. And I said, Plato said 2,300 years ago that anything anybody says, anything good is done is started out with one person. I said, I'm just one person saying this, but I hope other people will take up my cause. And Einstein said that, and I also quoted Aristotle said that if good men do nothing, Plato said if good men do nothing, evil men will surely rule over them. I said, I hope other people will take up my cause. And so I postulated doing this because of my paper and because of my phone call to Bill Frist's office. And I wrote this paper showing that anyone who speaks out against the corporations that privatize national currencies have either been killed or attempts on their life or something major, character and career assassination on them.
Are you working now?
I'm still working as a registered nurse. 10 years ago, my degree to diagnose and prescribe medicine was pulled because I spoke out against drug dealers and because I witnessed the vote being fraudulated.
Any questions?
When you had your hearing, did they allow other people to come in there with you, or did you have to go by yourself?
I went by myself. No one would go with me.
But would they have allowed other people to come with you?
I don't know.
That's important, because I'm going through something similar. And I know that if they can get you into a court or into any of these hearings by yourself, then they treat you a lot differently if you come in there with 7, 8, 10, 20, 30 people.
Don't go by
But when you go again, you don't need to go alone. You need to get as many people as you can get.
Everybody turned against me like a...
Well, call me. I'll come with you. Call me. I'll come.
We need to go with you.
Please, I gave you my paper. Please call me and
I will call you and give you my number.
They won't let me turn in any papers on my behalf. They say if I turn in papers to defend myself, I'm prosecuting this Tom Weiss who mailed in the hearsay. And they won't let me turn in any papers to defend myself.
Don't give them anything. Don't give them anything.
Don't give them anything, but have them forward.
Basically, do you have weapons in your car?
No.
Okay, so that's the case against you. Case closed.
She's saying that
And when I was speaking to them in the hearing, when I demanded my rights and said that I'm entitled to 15 elements of due process, specific charges, a regular witness and not just hearsay, they turned off the tape recorder, and when I wasn't speaking and they were questioning me, they turned it back on.
They would not do that in witness. That's very important. Have a witness. Whenever anybody pick you up or tell you anything, go get your witness.
Sometimes they won't allow you there because I actually, I hate to interrupt you, but I actually went to court supporting some of the Pakistani Americans that have just been picked up on trumped-up charges and brought in, and they're about to be deported. I mean, this woman was just picked up for no reason, and they said, because they wouldn't even tell her what she was picked up, and they had her in court. They wouldn't let anyone else in there. Lynn Stewart was actually there. They wouldn't let Lynn Stewart in, but we were outside supporting her. But sometimes they won't let you bring people in. It's unfortunate. But they finally told her the reason is because she got a phone call from someone in jail, and that's why they brought her in. And that she had paid $35,000 to be let free. I mean, it was outrageous. Extortion.
I want to mention something else about the idea of this 9/11 truth movement. We are investigative reporters and truth seekers and intelligent people that are concerned about what happened to our neighbors 5 years ago. And I've turned to my friends who have turned to the DVDs and stuff I've given them. They agree with me. And then months later they come back and say, it couldn't have been an inside job. It couldn't have been. Somehow I think the media has manipulated us through not only media control, but mind control. And if you watch CNN, you're like cheerleading war. Somehow they have these subtle manipulations. And when people read the New York Times or watch ABC News or CNN all the time, somehow they're subtle, like there's 30 frames per second, and then they just get, mind washed into thinking, it couldn't have been an inside job. You got to watch public access TV. Here, Joe Friendly's show, Democracy Now!, my show, What's Sailing Here in America, shows that are real public access, C-SPAN. You got to turn off the TV, folks, because otherwise it's going to brainwash you. Unfortunately, I really think that's happening because they have a sophisticated machine. They get $400 billion a year. The Pentagon. Their business is death and destruction. So mind control is part of their big budget, and they've sophisticated the controls, and they know what they're doing. And we're up against a tremendous monster here that's into killing and murder. That's what the Skull and Bones is about. They enjoy killing. They glorify it. And Bush is happy to kill people in Iraq and Afghanistan and in this country.
I said in my papers, when I was in the Army, they said all you have to do is pay someone $10,000 to disrupt an organization. You don't have to take anybody to court. It saves a lot of time and money. And one thing I write in my papers is the methods that this government is using, the subversive methods. They try to make everybody be alone, divided, fighting against each other, ignorant, afraid to speak. Like this gentleman back there said, you're crazy if you speak. The ignorant fall for that. You got to think for yourself. What is justice? What is right? You have to stick together. You have to speak up. And you can't let them divide you and make you feel you're ignorant and be afraid to speak. And that's what I'm saying right here. I write these papers that are very concise and in layman's terms so that everybody can divide it. And I don't think they like me writing these and trying to let people know what's going on.
In the beginning, this lady says is right. Don't be alone.
Well, that's what I've always wanted. Nobody at all would go. I told a lot of people. And one person from The Guardian in England made a phone call to him saying that he thinks I should be afforded rights. And so far, Les wrote a letter. That's the only two people who stood up for me, as far as I know. And Frank wrote it. I think Frank Morales wrote a letter for me, too.
Well, do they have a timetable for you to go in again? Do you have a court date or something?
No. I have no notice, no rights, no nothing. Nothing in writing, no rights. They just come and grab me, kill me, send me to Guantanamo, send me to one of the torture camps in Egypt or Chile.
Well, don't attract that. Don't think about it. And you got our number. If they call you or they have you for questioning, call us. We'll come to you, rally to your
Yeah,
event.
honk the horn.
Honk the horn and we'll come.
Yeah, my phone call.
You get their number. Honk the horn like they're telling you.
Yeah.
Do that. That's
Call
important.
us. Yeah, you have our
I've sent
number.
this out, and recently, yesterday, 2 days ago, Boston wrote me, and there's all kinds of organizations in Boston, and a lot of people have put out my message around their list.
I've had them try me
I've
several
got calls
times.
from Australia, Turkey, Iraqi soldiers saying, what are we fighting for if this is, if America doesn't have democracy, what are they fighting? And
Well, welcome to the club. You join the Pakistani community that's been devastated. There are people that are being arrested left, right, and center. The black community have been devastated. People are being arrested and thrown in jail, and there's torture going on. And Leonard Peltier and Mumia Jamal have been in jail for over 25 years now, unfairly.
Leonard Peltier.
So we're in trouble.
Leonard Peltier wasn't even in the CIA that stood up against them. He married an Indian. He stood up against the oppression.
Excuse me, you mentioned Wise. How did he get in the picture?
Apparently, I don't know. He just made a phone call against me. I've never had a personal conversation with him. They must have sent their operatives out looking for someone who would say something and someone who was willing to write a letter against him. They gave him $10,000. How wise was this? He must have taken money to write a letter against me. That's what I postulate. I can't know for sure. But that sounds like a good explanation.
I mean, he was here. Were you here at the same time
Well, for the past 2 years, I've been going to Iraqi war protests, 9/11 truth meetings, political rallies, and quite a few of them he's there and he harasses me. And he tries to make it look like there is something between me and him. Believe me, there is. I've never even had so much as a personal conversation with him. I make it a point not to associate with people who are liars, cheats, low integrity, and who do underhanded things. And also people who who I know have chances to take baths and don't take baths like him. He can't even take care of his teeth, let alone take care of business for Homeland Security.
Well, that's a reach like that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right,
Appreciate your
Judith.
support.
Well, you need to
Make some phone numbers for your network.
Give me a call. You don't have my phone number on it. Please give me a call.
So, Les, what happens to Mark then?
Okay, folks, next week the program is going to be on spy chips. RFID. This is this technology, by the way. It's already in the passports. It's already in the passports. Yeah, that's what they do. They put it in so fast before you can even react to protest it. And then the other issue here is they are deluging. They're assaulting us with so many things, one thing after the other. It's impossible to stay on top of it all. Okay? So this is going to be a very important program next week on spy chips. The other issue is on May of 2008, they already passed a law for a national ID card, which will contain a spy chip and have all the information in it, in this chip, and it's very likely where they can trace you, your location, wherever you are.
Yeah, you're always supposed to have it on your person, and it'll have all your ID and all your Social Security and all your stuff on it.
Also, you'll need it to travel. And actually, you'll need it for work. Who knows? But it's very, very ominous. So please bring people. Please bring people. That program. Then 2 weeks after that, it's February 4th, we're going to show a film called "Who Killed the Electric Car," which is
great.
phenomenal because it shows the power of the oil lobby and the government to conspire against the people. And this is related to the fact that 9/11 cleared the way for wars against oil-producing countries. So right, we shouldn't. The electric car was working in California. It was selling. It was very popular. It was a completely feasible and successful product. And these cars, they even had batteries that could go 300 miles, which is the same as a tank of gas. Right, and you just charge it at your home. So that's 2 weeks from now, on the 4th.
Great. Good idea.
Right, the 20th.
Is that the same day as Washington?
No, that's the 28th.
Okay.
So it's Sunday night. The march is on Saturday, so this is Sunday night. So Thank you all. We hope you'll help us with a donation in the basket to help with our work.
Is Mark on? Hi. Is Mark on? Mark? Big Mark?
Oh, yeah. I saw him a few minutes ago.
A few minutes ago?
Okay, Urantia is a cult which was created in the 50s on behalf of Tavistock, which is the biggest mind control institute in England, based on psychological bullshit inspired by Sigmund Freud, who later created also pseudo-psychological cults. So Tavistock is head of the Nazis creating the OSS, but the Urantia at the same time. Constantly for 50 till now, every cult went to CIA or military defense department intelligence, including MK Ultra. MK Ultra was also used in Urantia. Google MK Ultra. I think it's a hoax, by the way. MK Ultra is just a stupid word. Just about brainwashing the mind. And I don't even know how it works, and I don't want to know, because once you know how it works, you're getting obsessed with how
Why are you accusing us of being a Urantia mind-controlled stooge?
Because he's oppressing three major evidence in this movement. It's TV fakery, which you don't want to believe, but there's a fact. And it's the fact that the buildings were not pulverized by conventional explosives, must have been exotic weaponry, including as a suspect direct energy weapon, but a lot of more. I'm not saying this is a suspect number one, but I'm saying it's one of the potential weaponry which have been used. It might have been used also Tesla weapons, scalar.
But that's not TV fakery. So why call that TV fakery?
The evidence number two he's suppressing, together with all these people you see over there. They're brainwashing this movement since 5 years.
Thermite?
Thermite might have been used, but maybe just as a controlled cleanup. Jones obtained the evidence after it was manipulated from Mike Berger, one of the Thermite 9-2 speakers. The thermite didn't even come live from the it came from an apartment from Janice McKinley and could have been manipulated. Even if they used that sample, even if it was not manipulated and authentic, it cannot pulverize two buildings completely. It must have been something else. And then he's not addressing that the main leaders at the top actually supportive of Star Wars, exotic weaponry.
But did you see a DVD where the thermite was flowing right out?
If you see NineMysteries.com, they also argue that the bathtub was at one point not destroyed or whatever. It was very, they go Judy Wood paper. I'm not 100% support of Judy Wood because she's a little bit bodyguardish also. But she can also prove in her paper that it must have been possibly direct energy weapons. Not necessarily from space, because they're using that meme to belittle it. It could have come from Building 7. They're using direct energy weapons in Iraq, but then everywhere it's already modified direct energy weapons. There's anti-matter weapons around. You can Wikipedia it. It's already described. Raytheon has direct energy weapons. What they have right now is just advancing what they had already in the 90s.
But wait a second, let me ask you a question. If you don't like Les, and
no, it's not about liking.
accusing
him
of being some sort of disinformation or mind control stooge, and what he's doing
I just say what it's about. He's suppressing evidence, TV fakery, exotic weaponry use on 9/11, anti-infiltration of the movement at the top, of Bowman.
No, he's not suppressing evidence. He is working with the consensus of the majority.
Bob Bowman is not talking about exotic weaponry as evidence.
But wait a second, no, Nico, listen carefully.
Listen to me a second.
He is supporting Webster Tarpley, David Ray Griffin, and standard 9/11 people that are trying to get...
David Ray Griffin's a Rockefeller associate. He was at 2 or 3 Rockefeller meetings in the 80s and 90s.
So what? David Ray Griffin has good information.
Okay. No, he has not. He's stealing from our research from 2002, from 2006. That's also not a problem. The problem is David Ray Griffin supports one world government, backed up by CFR, associate Richard Clark. It's in his own book, One World Government. He's a multiple cultist. He runs another cult in China, pantheism cult. It's inspired by Wacko Alfred North Whitehead. You can look it up, Alfred North Whitehead.
All of that is theoretical stuff that may evolve after the 9/11 truth breaks. But let's cross the bridge when we come to the water.
You don't know your own history. That's like Kansas who got infiltrated.
Let me just say to you, let's cross the water when we come to the bridge. Right now the objective is to break open 9/11 truth.
It will not happen. Okay? I'm not giving the pessimist
9/11 truth must break
Where?
open.
How does it break? Which reality will
by
break?
people that have credible...
No, these are all bullshit answers. The stealing research never did their own research by themselves.
Stealing research?
Well, I created a science group. This was done by 2002, and they're delaying it. And then when they finally okayed some of it, they're delaying it again.
Wait a second.
Because the media is controlled.
But this is a 9/11 scholars' truth movement. When people learn about stuff, they share information, and it's no longer stealing anything. It's just communicating what we feel.
Do you know who runs 9 Scholars? Who's running 9 Scholars?
I'm not sure I know everything.
Yes,
All I know
you
is
don't
that
know.
you are being very belligerent.
No, you don't know anything. 9 Scholars is run by an attorney.
You are being belligerent and accusing people of stealing evidence.
You don't even
and
listen.
talking.
No, plagiarizing is not stealing.
No, we're not plagiarizing anything. We're just communicating.
No, they plagiarize. I had it done by 2002, and it's not about plagiarizing. It's about who's running 9 Scholars, and you don't even know. It's an intellectual property attorney. You don't know his name.
Excuse me, these are all different
You
books.
have to do your research. You know
what research on
who is
what?
Alexander Flom? Who's Alexander Flom?
This doesn't mean anything.
He runs the 9 Scholars, the people that you believe in. He's an intellectual property who bought the domain ST911, and he fucked up Fetzer. He did it for Jones. Jones is no fucking Fetzer. Are you a supporter of Jim Fetzer? By the way, I'm not, but are you a supporter of Jim Fetzer?
I don't even know who you're talking about. All I know is that it doesn't...
Jim Fetzer.
So
Jim
what?
Fetzer was the owner.
So what?
Jim Fetzer was founding 9 Scholars. He's a founder of 9 Scholars, the group you're supporting. You don't even know the founder. You want to talk with me? Okay, fuck you, man.
Well, I would appreciate it if you'd stop saying fuck you and stop yelling and being angry and belligerent.
And taking turns,
5 years censorship, and I should not get angry. I get 5 years censored by assholes like these.
You don't play fair. You don't play fair.
This is my fucking group because I founded it in 2004, okay? Dickhead, it's my group. I founded it in 2003. You have to have respect because without me, you wouldn't be here, okay?
Why do you claim to be in charge?
This is the group which got infiltrated. My fucking group, and I don't want to have it back. I'm just telling you, you have to have fucking respect. Listen to me. I created this fucking group in 2003. You look it up in the history book. My group, I co-founded it. 2003.
If it's your group,
New York, 9 Truths, got infiltrated by Nick
why
Levitt.
are you being asked to leave by everyone in it?
I left by myself.
You're here
I left in 2004 because I got infiltrated by Nick Levitt. And then this fucking dickhead.
Nico needs to sober
They
up.
infiltrated because they're co-interpol, I said. I'm not anymore. I'm coming as a visitor.
So then visit and be nice.
Make your research about 9 Scholars. Google Alex Attorney Flom. He created the group.
Frank did no Fetzer. Frank did no
What's the
Fetzer.
problem there? You're not even a constitutionalist. Who founded the United States of America? You know that?
How many people think that Nico doesn't play fair when it's a matter of taking turns talking?
I'm supporting this flag here. I'm a constitutionalist. You, nothing. You betraying the United States by listening to fuckheads like this, fascists, who's fucking up the people here. Good-hearted people.
Name calling.
Not curse and yell. Just be polite.
People runs an evil organization called Urantia.
Why don't you save your anger for Dick Cheney and George Bush? You know what? Your anger would be good channeled toward the perpetrators of 9/11. Your anger is not appreciated here.
Yeah.
The people who are trying to get the truth out are interested in being angry at the criminals, not at the people that are trying to get the truth out. So everything you're saying is creating problems. Thank you.
And you should know that because the Baker-Hamilton report and Cheney are totally opposed right now on Iraq and Mideast policy.
It's scripted. It's on purpose. James Baker's giving China technology.
Schultz runs Cheney. Schultz
runs also the government. You know who Schultz's best friend is? Schultz's best friend is actually the guy who's his buddy.
Come on, calm down. These are the Syndicus bankers. And you gotta just calm down because we're the people who exposed...
I'm not far away from your point, so
we're the people who exposed Tavistock, my friend.
You know Tavistock?
We exposed it in 73.
LaRouche.
Oh, LaRouche, yeah.
All right, so before you start
LaRouche has their own card. LaRouche has their own card, yeah, and they don't.
And you don't have a card?
No, I have no car. If I had one, it would destroy behind myself.
Yeah, where are they?
I said I don't have a car. If I would have, it would destroy. Cults suck, okay? United States was betrayed by fucking Nazi cults since the 50s. The Nazis and Tavis stuff. Even the Rouge worked that. I work for myself, okay? I don't want to have fucking Rouge behind me. You fucking top-heavy, you believe in Nazi fascists. Like the Rouge. The Rouge is a force. I work for myself.
Who do you work for?
Nico Haupt, that's my boss. Nico Haupt is me, okay?
No.
You work for the Rouge, you fucking cult head. You fucking cult head.
Don't attack the Rouge unless you have something to hide, my friend.
The Rouge is a fucking fuckhead who created Star Wars in 1984.
I know he created Star Wars and we're very proud of it.
Yes, and that you're proud that China used killer satellites this week because you're a fuckhead?
Don't shine the...
No, you're a betrayer of the United States, you fucking fuckhead, okay?
No violence. No violence. Don't document there's been violence.
No violence.
Don't document there's been violence.
We don't want violence.
This is the violent guy. He's supporting Star Wars.
Please, we don't like this. It's a church. This is a church. We don't want you.
You have to go. You're not even talking unless you're logical. You're not logical.
Got some violent agenda and vulgarity, unfortunately. He's like Tom Weiss. Agent Provocateur. My eyes really hurt now. He shined that in my face. He's probably part of the whole CIA thing. What is this? No, it's a strange thing. My eyes hurt, yeah.
First of all, it's not laser, it's LED.
What is LED?
Light emitting diode.
Did he do that? Okay, that's fine with me then. Kick us in.
We got 3 more minutes, man. Okay, let's complete the show.
Did you get him shining the laser in his eye?
It wasn't a laser, it's LED.
What is that thing called? LED.
So light, okay.
It's not, doesn't hurt the eye.
Look, did Tom bring the DVD? DVD replica?
I didn't get to ask him.
All right.
I didn't get to ask him. All right, so folks, look.
You were patient, and that he just doesn't want to play fair.
Oh, yeah, he's playing very fair for the British. Just be very much aware of that.
Look, Nico has an issue. I've seen him do this for 3 years now. 2004, 9/11, at the Manhattan Ballroom Center. It was a major event, 800 or 900 people.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, hold on. One second. I saw then Nico Haupt get up in front of this huge crowd and throw a tantrum. You know, just do a major tirade about why they didn't create the program the way he wanted that program to be created. Basically, that's what it came down to. And why didn't they do what he said and advised them to do? All right? Now,
I'm picking you up right there. It's the microphone.
Also, I've seen him go up in front of public events in Chicago and also Washington, D.C.
And disrupt?
The major disruptions, calling the organizers war criminals. And this has been a pattern.
Name calling?
Huge name calling and, huge accusations and basically major
But he has
smears and
suffered. He's been off on the no plane theory, and that's been a lonesome undertaking. And it's starting to wear him down his brain power.
Who knows? He and a few others are out there trying to put these outrageous theories out there and speculations that no planes hit the towers, despite the fact that millions of people saw the second plane hit live on TV. So go figure. And he's supposed to have been a credible researcher who was the first ones out there in the movement. So now his latest thing is exotic weaponry, and space beams were used to take down the towers. And the whole point is, what he doesn't seem to get is that by advancing anything exotic, unprovable, or difficult to prove, or that seems outrageous and speculative to the general public, which we need behind us, it is counterproductive, it is damaging and undermining the movement, and that's exactly what he's doing. Okay? Because there are existing actionable grounds that can gain traction with this general public, which are dereliction of duty, obstruction of justice, destruction of evidence, and cover-up, which is malfeasance. These are the issues that we can use now, and the American public can galvanize behind to force Congress or force a prosecutor to act on it. Not force a prosecutor, but I mean to engage a prosecutor to say, here are legal, actionable grounds for investigation. These are far more than necessary to warrant a true investigation. That's the way the legal system works, and by being practical and pragmatic, we can get somewhere. Otherwise, then it's just a matter of stringing this out for another, 40, 50 years, which is unacceptable. So that's what we're trying to avoid.
I got all stuff set for the teams we have from 6 to 8.
People here have been trying to encourage me. I say it's difficult because there's so many people against me. And they said, no, take heart. So I said, okay, all they have is the U.S. government, the CIA, the FBI, the military-industrialist complex, the Bush regime, the corporations. They're going to need a lot more than they get me.
Good. Okay.
That's my last epithet. I stand up for justice anyway.
Never mind. I gave him the info.
I'm going to show you this coat in the light. This is a $10,000 coat here. It is 100% cashmere Ralph Lauren. Here's a bag that you take care of it. Don't drag it on the floor like that twice already.
No idea.